Here we go. So, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. So happy to see you all. Such a great group of faculty. So, you're the heroes of our department who are really serving our students. So, I'm always thrilled to see you all. And we really have quite a lot of news around our department. You saw the agenda, just to warn you, our agenda will be quite fluid because some of the guest speakers who are going to join us that I invited, they didn't quite commit to an exact time. So it's whenever they hop on, I will pause whatever we are talking about, and we will kind of hop around our agenda today. And in case you didn't see the agenda, I will add it also to the chat window. Or Mary, would you mind to add it to the chat? Thank you so much. So the agenda is always a good document to save because it has a lot of links in it and it's kind of like your little reference. So don't discard them so quickly. They're kind of a good reminder what we talked about and what to do and which website to go to. We have quite a few changes in our institution and staff members, their role in our institution is also changing. So that doesn't make it easier for you who are not all the time within the district and college, so glued to your emails because you're teaching, right? So it's hard to keep track of these changes. If in doubt, always please send your APCs or myself an email, and we will always be happy to guide you. It's hard even for us to keep track of all the changes. But we will see. We will have a very quick visit of our new dean. She is on her way to a conference, but she said she will hop onto Zoom from the airport somehow. And so as soon as you see her, please alert me. We will pause. So she will start on February the 10th is her official start day. And I'm sure we will schedule another town hall, some meeting where you have an opportunity to interact with her, maybe in person at CMESA. So just look out when she's coming on, and I'm sure she will send an email to all faculty pretty soon. So that's our new permanent dean. So Dr. Abdul Isira will serve until I guess, the 8th. And then we have our new dean coming on February the 10th. The administrative support hasn't changed so much. It's sometimes different who's doing something. Please know that Isabel Matar was completely pulled from our department. I'm so sad to say. It was a huge loss to our department. So we don't email her. She was completely assigned to a different department. It's now student services, attendance, etc. And so Stephanie, Isabel won't be able to help you with anything emeritus related. But Stephanie is there, and copy me on your emails, and then she will be in charge of the resource requests, leave and substitute requests, field trips, your pay, and facility agreements. That's kind of some things that are working in the background that you don't really see, but just so you know what each, and you will have these slides later on. We will email you the recording as well as those slides. Kelly is in charge of our schedule, and she is in charge of assigning a substitute teacher because they need to be but when you send a leave request, it has to go to both Stephanie and Kelly. They both have a function in that process of requesting a leave. So always email both. The campus supervisors, so the office managers at your campuses, that has changed a lot because they are now managing basically the campuses. So it's not anymore the instructional deans. So they were relieved of this huge duty. So now it's the campus supervisors. So Clarence or at C Mesa, it's Andre Harris at West City. Mid City has Karen King, Diana Romero at Chavez, and so on. So these are the office managers, but they can help you with room assignments, attendance portal access, sometimes when you forget your password, etc. But that's pretty limited what they can help you with. There was the chair duties haven't changed. So you have seen the slide, and our assistant program chairs also continue in their same exact role. So your structural support hasn't changed, and for spring semester will stay and remain the same. So please note this and always contact your APCs or your chair. I'm always happy to help. The leave form, as mentioned, you should email both Stephanie because she will get the dean's approval. And then Kelly is the one that has to create that assignment for your substitute teacher. So it's also important that you fill out the form. So not just, oh, I'm this time out. So very specific. This form is very important for the leave form to email to both so it can be processed properly. And there's our interim dean, Dr. Abdul Isira. Welcome. Let me put you on spotlight here for everyone.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Hi, thank you for the welcome. Yes, of course, it's a pleasure to see you all. I'm here actually at ECC. I had been told that 169 had been reserved by caller on behalf of the Emeritus Department, so I was physically here and able to attend. I'm so glad to be with all of you, and as you partially heard, the new dean is scheduled to start. It's going to be February 10th, which is a Monday. There isn't a official announcement regarding my conclusion date, as was stated earlier, that actually is not quite accurate. But nonetheless, it's been a pleasure and a joy to be with all of you. And Dr. Ackridge will certainly officially start with you on February 10th. It is the year 2025. I have looked statistically at the department's performance in 2024 and the years preceding. And as with most of the senior administration faculty, we're extraordinarily impressed, not only with the efforts of you as faculty and classified staffers within the department, but just overall as a team in terms of delivering this essential educational option to persons who are a little further down in terms of the aging lifespan than traditionally seen in a traditional kind of collegiate environment. So we look forward to 2025 with great zeal and zest and enthusiasm and optimism about the continuing great work that you all will do under Dr. Ackridge's leadership ultimately, and that you have done in the short time that I have been with you. So with that, I'm going to defer and turn the meeting back over to your program chair, Dr. Claudia Tornsaufer. And I thank you all for your wonderful time during the time that I have been with you at this time, devoted to me. And I will be seeing you all in passing ultimately at some point when a final determination date is made for me. But be well. Have a great, great, great spring 2025 semester. I think we have enormous potential for great benefit in the community to our senior age students and student body. Thank you so much. Be well. I look forward to seeing you all.
Thank you, Dr. Isira, and thank you for your service to our department. And we appreciated you bridging the time between having no dean and the permanent dean. It's always important to have a capable person in charge. Thank you so much for your service. And my apologies that not everybody reached the message that we are not meeting in person. Well, here it's the leave form. I think this is repeat, but I just wanted to quick remind all of you that there's this process, and the first check can be actually that if sometimes you get suddenly sick, like it happened to me today, and you just call Stephanie's voicemail. So that could be your first step. And then make sure you follow up with an email that includes your leave form. And then the leave form is here attached. It was also attached to our agenda. So you do have all the links. Plus, you have Mary's websites that are a great resource where you can find any form. I myself go many times looking, oh, where's this form? And I don't remember where I saved it on my hard drive. And I sure go to Mary's website, and there it is. You can find any form on her website. So that's always important. Student registration, that's always our top barrier that we can all name for most of our students. It hasn't gotten easier. Some of those difficulties stem from changes at the state level, so they are outside of our purview to control. Our college has tried to really ease the change to the CCC Apply. That's a process that's at the state level. Any new student or students who haven't attended any classes in the last 3 semesters need to apply at CCC Apply. And then we have our own in-house registration application. Be aware what it takes to get registered so you can answer some of the questions of your students. I know that some of you are amazing in answering those questions and being really the first in line to support our students. There's a few differences. Now they have separated the flyer request and the e-blast request. It used to be under the same form. And I heard that later this week, there's a meeting how they're again going to redesign that website where to request those items. So that's really not easy for us to keep track, but here this is, no, this is the class schedule. Let me see, I had it open there. So this is the request website. You can always find it yourself. If you forget to save this website, you can go to San Diego College of Continuing Education. You click on Organization, and you go to Communication and Creative Services. And that's where you request a project. And that can be a flyer, posters, social media, an email campaign, and so on. If you scroll down on this web page, you also will find those fun slide backgrounds that we offer, the Canvas background, the logos of the college, all that is actually approved by our college. So that's for you just to know. I do still hear a lot of questions on those matters. There's now a new virtual welcome center, I'm told, and that was just announced on Tuesday. Where students can get, those who cannot come to our campuses, that they can get help via this Cranium Cafe. It's supposedly better than a Zoom session. So the district invested just newly in this new platform. And so again, if I show it to you, they have choices. They can just agree. And you can either say, I'm a current student, or I'm a prospective student. And then you get to the correct side. This particular software will be more helpful, I'm told. I haven't seen it yet in action. I'm told that it's more helpful to upload when they have to show their driver license and those kind of things. So it's supposedly easier. I did hear good things about the call center. So some of my students did call and did receive immediately an answer, had a very patient person on the phone, and received actually very effective help. So it, of course, depends who is on duty, but apparently that has been pretty good. And so please share this number with your students. Paper registration. That's a little bit a new way and a new story because we were just told no more paper registration. Then they somehow sneaked back. It was kind of for no bubble forms. They all have disappeared. But this application is for those of you who teach at the special settings. Special settings students can still fill out this form. They kind of need to fill out all of it. The one thing they can leave out is actually the Social Security. But we do need, for sure, their date of birth. And I've gone a little bit back and forth with administration and Libby Bucket, who is, oh, there she is. Wonderful. Perfect timing.
I'm here. I just didn't want to
You are
interrupt you
here.
while
No,
you were doing your
perfect.
updates.
Oh, no, 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 no. Wonderful.
Um,
Please, do you want me to stop share?
it's up to you. Yeah, that's fine. I don't know where that link is to that application you were just showing. So there is a slightly updated one that
Ah,
I think I shared you on the email, but
okay.
we'll make sure to
Okay.
have it so it's more updated. So we
Okay,
are
we will.
using I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, we will get it
Okay.
updated. Sorry. Yes, update and yes.
And I think the sharing is disabled at this time. Um, but with the transition of CCC apply non-credit, we understand that students that don't have a current email address and don't have a method of doing an MFA, a multi-factor authenticator, may not be able to apply through CCC apply. So we always kept the paper application in use. We were just trying not to advertise it and trying to massively distribute it. We've never stopped using it. We have changed it a little bit to call it the application enrollment form because that we're enrolling students, we're not registering them into classes. We're changed the verbiage a little bit. We do have a PDF fillable one. So if you have facility directors that are helping you complete these at the site, they can fill out the PDF version and then maybe just print it and have each student just sign in date. Now, the one thing I do want to reemphasize that hasn't changed, but I know Outreach was supporting a little bit in helping pick up application forms, is that we really want to have as much of the faculty involved in the process as possible because sometimes if we have a third party like Outreach go out and collect your applications, then sometimes we lose track of who turned them in, which campuses they turned them into, how quickly are they processed. And then the other thing you'll see come out later today is just the reminder of the attendance policies and procedures. So I know for your on-campus classes, you know your need to turn in your weekly and daily CAV, so you can turn in your paper application forms on a weekly basis along with your CAV, so you know what you've turned in, you know who's supposed to be on your roster. And as Claudia mentioned, the application, we really want it as filled out as possible, but we understand that, a lot of students don't feel comfortable providing a social security number, but the only way we can determine that we're enrolling and activating the proper student is with their date of birth. So that does need to be on there so we can just make sure we're collecting the proper information. So I'm just going to guide you to revisit the attendance policies and procedures that talks about the paper applications, how they should be submitted or when they can be submitted, and then just make sure we're using the correct paper form. The other thing too is I'm going to send a batch of pre-printed ones to the campuses. So if you feel more comfortable just picking up blank ones, they should be available to you at the campus. Now I know a lot of the Emeritus classes, they're open for enrollment up until the first day of class. So you don't need to provide us a permission number unless the class has already started, because that's how we know that you're authorizing a student to enroll in your class once it's started. So we do have this section here. If you sign and date it, we know that you're the one that collected it and turned it into the campus, so we can process it right away when you turn it in. Let me just see if I missed anything on the chat.
Cynthia had the following question regarding income. Do they need to fill this out?
They should fill out as much as they can because we do enter this information in our campus solutions, which is then reported to the state for, apportionment, funding purposes. So as much as they can fill out, the better. If they leave something blank, it's not gonna deter us from processing it. As long as we can, complete most of the information. They can just put 0 if they don't know or they're not sure. But as much as information that we have is better. And then since your students, if we're manually enrolling them every semester because they're not able to access their student portal to self-enroll, they will need to fill out the application, this paper one, every semester to capture that information. And that's also what allows us to enroll the student on their behalf. So this kind of gives us also authorization to enroll the student on their behalf since they're not able to self-enroll through the portal.
That's wonderful. And we have one other question. Can we give applications to anybody not in a special setting?
If the student cannot access CCC Apply because they don't have an email and they're not able to set up their portal because they don't have an email or a method of doing MFA, then yes, they can use a paper application. But again, we're trying to really deter people because this obviously also takes manual input from the staff's end. So it does require more time for us to input the application manually and self-enroll the student manually versus them doing them on their own through the portal.
And another question, Iris is asking, does a student who hasn't taken classes for a while need to reapply to SDCCE? Can they use their present student ID number?
Yeah, so the goal is for us to obviously not create new ID numbers every time they come back. If they've been gone for a very long time, what we do is really try to make sure that the information that they're turning in now matches the information they had with us in the system before, and then we can just match them up and enroll them with the same old ID number that they had. But essentially, if they're doing the paper method, they're going to have to apply and enroll manually every semester. If they're doing the CCC Apply online application, that's the one you don't need to do every semester. You just need to do it once if you stop attending more than 3 semesters, then we'll ask you to do it again. And then you just self-enroll through the portal. But if we're doing the paper method, then we need it every semester.
Also keep in mind if students, my students have sometimes done, they came to an outreach event, brought their iPad or their laptop, and we did do the application on their device. And then we said, save the password. And then many times the next semester they have put the website in their favorites, the computer remembers or the tablet how to log in. And that eases much of the pains of registration with us. It's sometimes I get an email, my son gave me a new computer and now I don't know where to go, but then that's a new story. But that might be helpful for the long run to have the digital application. That makes things later much easier. So please keep that in mind.
And the Welcome Center is really great at walking students through. If they do have iPads and they do have access to able to do MFA and email, the Welcome Center is a great place for them to get that one-on-one help if they can, even remotely through Cranium Cafe or over the phone, they can walk them through the process. I want to give big kudos to Julie Bali because she scans her applications on a weekly basis and sends them right over to ANR and ECC. And she's just making sure all her students are enrolled and applied for. So I just want to give a kudos to her because she's definitely making sure those application and enrollment are coming in on a weekly basis.
Yeah, and please keep in mind you cannot claim attendance in a fully on-person class when the student is not registered. And that's tedious process for our attendance clerks to cross-check who's enrolled in your class and who you put on your attendance list. So please always make sure they are enrolled. If not, they don't count towards our apportionment. Libby, this has been very wonderful for you to come here and to clarify a few processes for us again, but it's never enough to hear it more often and to get reminded. And we are thrilled to hear about the Cranium Cafe to be new. Does any of you have another question for Libby? Esteban, you made a very important point in the chat. Maybe you want to share why we are collecting the income data.
Yeah, I'd be happy to touch on that. So I'm, excuse me, a little more savvy with how data is being saved because I'm currently participating in the Faculty Institute. And one of the things that I recognized was really helpful with my students is to let them know that the demographic reporting is just to show how our services are being used by the community. And so it isn't saved in their student profile. So this doesn't become a part of their profile information. And furthermore, it helps us just demonstrate how we're working in the community and justify, the kinds of grants and income we want for our program. So it's helpful to remind them that by just filling out that detail, they're helping us as a program better identify who we're helping. It in no way is saved where it is accessible to anyone else in the institution. And for those purposes, they should feel comfortable and safe sharing that information. And I've noticed that when I provide that explanation, students are a lot more willing to fill out all of the questions in the questionnaire, because I think part of the concern is uncertainty of how this information, what this information is being used for, and how it's being shared. And so when you make it clear that it isn't really being shared out, and that it actually is, any identifying information related to those personal details are stripped when we actually report that data. So I think once they have that understanding, it's a lot more easy to go along with. So thank you, Claudia.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for adding this important detail. And I believe, did I see Andrea? Where's Andrea? Libby, do you have anything else for us that we should know?
No, I was just, reiterating in some of the chat answers to work with your campuses directly to turn in your paper applications so we don't lose track of who's turning them in. And, a few folks are like, hey, how do I follow up with if I turn in a paper app? So if you're turning them in directly to the campus, you should be able to follow up with the attendance folks at the campus to see where they are. Sometimes they may just be a little bit backlogged, or they may have not been able to process a paper application because it's missing information. And then I know outreach can still support on some of these enrollment events, but we ask that they don't get requested just to go pick up a pile of paper apps. And if facility directors are assisting with those paper apps, they can email them also on behalf of the student. But again, I always encourage the faculty to have some handle of their applications. I know it's a little bit more work. It's not new to some of us that have been here since before COVID, but it may be newer to folks that came in after COVID and with this new application process. But just knowing which applications you turn in and knowing which ones have been processed or haven't, you'll have a better idea of any issues or any follow-up that you may need to do as a faculty for your roster.
Thank you so much, Libby. And thank you for making the time to join our meeting. So very much appreciated. Welcome, Andrea. So Andrea Jäger is our outreach coordinator. So when you fill out this form to request support at your off-campus site, Andrea is the one who will coordinate it. So Andrea, please go ahead.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Yes, so I have been having a lot of requests for application workshops, and I definitely have some room to grow here with the team. So I want to thank you all for your feedback, good feedback, bad feedback. It's all great for our growth so that we can better support the students. I did want to let you all know when you're requesting application workshops with us, we do have a form that you fill out to complete this. This helps me keep the requests in order that they come in, and I can add that link to the chat. But this allows us to keep the requests in order so we could prioritize the requests that come in first. And because of some of the feedback we've gotten, I now schedule no less than 2 people at a time for each workshop. That way, in the event that someone has car difficulty or traffic or just some unforeseen circumstance, we're not leaving the students waiting there, because it's been my understanding that this has happened before. So I'm really, really sorry about that. And that's not the service we want to provide to the students. So when you request a workshop from outreach, you can always expect a minimum of 2 outreach ambassadors going forward. And then we are there for about 2 hours, unless you have communicated to me that there's going to be a larger group or you need additional time. we're going to plan 2 hours out of the day for each workshop when we go out there. Our ambassadors will also have their own devices to assist people. But if you have access to computers or devices for students to use, that's always helpful as well, so that we can assist more people at one time. And then it's not that we're not assisting with the paper applications, as Libby kind of mentioned. Our first priority is getting through the CCC Apply, the online application. And when we reach barriers with that, where we can't proceed with that, that's when we defer to the paper application. Besides that, I wanted to see if there are any questions for me. If not, I'm going to get the request link in the chat for you all.
I have a question.
Yes.
I had understood that in order to get into portals, that soon this year, instead of using this 10-digit student ID, they're going to have to use a student email. Is that true, that that's going to change?
That's the district single sign-on that you're referring to, and that hasn't moved forward yet. That's a district-wide project that is not alone with CCE. So they began the process with Canvas. So now they log into Canvas with their student email address and the same password. So we're not there yet as a district. I think that's part of their phase of having one full single sign-on, but we're not there yet as a district.
Okay, because that's going to make enrollment complicated for people who...
It might, yeah, but we're not there yet. We don't have an exact date of when that's going to happen. As soon as district releases it, then obviously we'll have to work with district colleagues to see how that is going to affect application and enrollment through Campus Solutions. And then we'll always have the paper application as our last end result, but we don't have an exact date of full single sign-on. So I wouldn't be too worried. Definitely not spring, and I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be summer because that's right around the corner. But I can't say anything about fall. I haven't heard any update.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nikki, for your question. It's always important. And I'm sure Libby will keep us posted in giving out emails that go out to all faculty. And she's always presenting workshops. So watch your Flex calendar workshop list, because there you might see a workshop led by Libby. Andrea, do you have anything? Julie raised her hand. Please go ahead,
Yeah,
Julie.
I guess this sort of maybe still goes back to Libby. I sent in 80 applications right after Christmas, and I only have one outside person at my special settings that signed up, and I don't have any of my new students yet, or students that I sent in. And they're not on my registration yet on the class, and I was just wondering if there's a chance that I need to find out if there's going to be anybody in my class on the list, or do I need to figure out something else for the first days this week?
Was it for spring, you said?
For spring, I don't have any. I have one person as an outside person. I think I sent you guys 80 applications during the holidays.
Yeah, I
and that you received them.
think we still have them. Look, I have them right here. My plan was to walk up to ECC and help the staff do them so they can get more. So what happened is, when we transitioned to this enrollment process, A&R, which is a small little team of 3 of us, we're doing all the paper apps for all 7 campuses. So now that I've gone and trained the campus staff a little bit more on the new, because the paper application process in Campus Solutions for staff changed. So we actually have to do it a little bit different as well. So A&R took the burden and was handling it for all 7 campuses. But now that we've, trained the staff a little bit more at the campuses, and we've embarked on a little bit more projects, I'm handing it back off to the campuses. That's why I'm advising folks to work directly with the campuses that you're turning your CAVs with. So if I can get ECC to enroll all these students between today and tomorrow, we'll enroll them here in A&R. But I have them, Julie. I got them right here. I promise.
For the sign-in sheet for Wednesday, if they're not in.
Oh, no, we'll have them in before Wednesday. But if they're not in, just have them sign in on a regular CAV, and we'll always backdate them.
Okay.
But we'll have them in hopefully before your class on Wednesday for sure.
Okay, and if not, I could print out the old the old attendance sheet from last fall.
Yeah, and then just cross off the class number and stuff. If it's the same time, date, and stuff, that's fine. But you should have it. Yeah, thank you.
I didn't know how to
Yes.
write that down on
Oh,
chat.
no worries.
I'm sorry to bother you with that. Send
But
me an email because
But
there's more.
thank you for the question. And Libby, I was hoping, do you think these all will be processed by the time we get to the first census date? Because that's when deans look at enrollment numbers.
Yeah,
And
that's why if you turn them in the same week that you collect them, I don't see us having a big backlog. Julie just happened obviously to send 80. Right in the winter break, and ECC was also closed. We were closed due to the power outage. So we just got back. We're trying to finish up fall, clean up stuff, and starting spring. So it just was just a little bit of a backlog. But I don't see if faculty are turning them in on a weekly basis with their CVs, I don't see there being that much of a lag with census at all.
wonderful. That's great to know. Thanks, Libby.
Yeah, of
And
course, you're welcome.
yeah, and Andrea, anything else you want to share with us?
I think that's it, unless you all have questions for me. I did post the link for our outreach services request form. Again, that's a lot more effective than email for me. If you don't mind filling out that for requests, but I do love follow-up emails. Sometimes I'll get follow-up emails from you all, just making sure that I received your request, and those are always welcome. And then again, you can expect from outreach that we're going to be having at least 2 ambassadors each time we send them out. I've even started to schedule them 30 minutes earlier so they have time to find some of the locations that are a little bit trickier, and be on time for the students so the students have a better experience.
Yeah,
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm Joanne, and I teach one at a SNF, and I teach another class at a library. I think I was capped at my SNF, and I wasn't able to enroll someone. I turned in the the application form, and I even deleted a student from my class so he can be enrolled, but he still hasn't been enrolled. And so I'm wondering, should I just not count his attendance for the week or 2 that he was there? Or what should I do with that student? Or if I have a student who came in on the last day of the semester, they need help to enroll for last semester and this coming up one.
I would do a paper application, and if you've already turned one, either follow up with where you turned it into, because we can always backdate students. We can always backdate students so you can enter their hours. If they're on your CAV and we have a paper application, we can backdate them so you can add the hours and close out your class. So it just may take a few days, right, to catch up, but we can do that.
Okay, so because I put in information, I said, what should we do with this person? Since it was at the cap, and for this semester, I requested a bigger cap because the class people unfortunately pass away or new people move into this place. So I think we were able to get a larger cap on this so I don't run into that problem. So do we think it will be able to be done before? I think our paperwork's due by February 1st.
You should be able to. I'll send a reminder to the campus staff, because the other thing we can do when we enroll your students manually, we can override the capacity of your class. If you're signing off on the paper app, to me, that tells me you're authorizing me to override your capacity, right? So we can always override students over capacity. But if your student does happen to pass away or stop attending, I would drop them with whatever hours they already attended, so we know that they're gone, and that does create more room for students. But if for some reason you want to go over your capacity because that's what you can and you want to do, then we can override the capacity when we manually enroll a student.
Okay, so then for my other class that's at the library, I have some elderly students who have a lot of complications by learning electronically. So I've turned in that form. I turned that form in to my campus, and they say they still need to do something on top of that. I've sent some people, I keep referring them to go to the campus, but I have few people who it's very difficult to drive an extra place. So am I supposed to send those application forms to a different department other than my campus?
No, whatever the campus needs, if either it's from you or from A&R to help them process the app, that's when I need to find out as the director. Like I need to know where the barriers are. So if you can follow up on that last email you got and CC me so I can see what is the step that they're missing. Because I think there's a little bit of that gap in understanding if it's something that they need help, are they asking A&R for us to help the campuses process them, or are they needing more information from you or from the student?
Okay, and I'm
Because I
sorry,
don't want
what,
to send the students in just because they needed something and you could have helped them answer the question or we could have helped.
okay, can you type in your email so
Yeah.
we can, so I can CC you for
Yeah.
these last couple of students?
Yep,
Great, thank you for your
you're
help.
welcome.
Wonderful. Thanks for the question, Joanne. And Pamela has a question.
Thank you. Libby, do you want me to email you directly for those 3 days when ECC was closed, December 16, 18, and 19? I was told Clarence scanned in my CAVs and they were supposed to be hand input because usually I use the tracking machine. And I was told not to fill in my summary by week for that week. And it hasn't been entered yet. So
You want to email Julia and CC me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Libby, for offering to help and in the communication. And if they turn into the campus, those registration forms will go to the attendance clerk, correct? Or it doesn't matter, just
Yeah, so
anybody.
every campus except for CMA and CU Miramar have their own attendance email address. So if you're emailing attendance information, I would highly recommend, and it's on the policies and procedures, email the campus attendance email because it's managed not only by staff, but it's also managed by the college operations supervisor. And so then there's more people that can get involved and can assist in getting those information and paperwork processed in a timely manner.
Great. And what do faculty at the other two campuses, CMS and Miramar, do?
They're still, if they have to email it, they turn it in still to the North City campus like we have in the past. We just have it, I need to work with IT to create a separate email address for CMA and CE Miramar. But I know CMA staff like Clarence and Isabel, they already have access to the North City one so they can check it on a regular basis. And then I'm going to be working with Tammy over at Miramar to see how they can assist with some of the paperwork that's being turned in at Miramar. But I think most of you all are off campus and just either work with either C Mesa or North City. So we'll continue that unless there's a bigger need of C Miramar to be involved with Emeritus paperwork.
Wonderful. Sounds great. And we look forward to those summary emails that you send out. It's always good, a reminder. Sometimes we forget and little tweaks to the procedures are always happening. So please, to everyone, read those emails that come from Libby. Libby and Janae, those emails you do not want to ignore. Please read them. Yeah, so thank you for being here. Let's move on to our next agenda item, and that's with Esteban, our Assistant Program Chair, and also our SLO Coordinator. And he will guide us through the next steps of SLO in our Emeritus Program. And you're a co-chair, so you should be easily able to chair your slides. And they're here. Fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Claudia. Hi, everyone. I hope you had a great time at ECC. Let me just take us through a quick slideshow. There's some important information I want to present for us just to remind us about SLO Student Self-Assessment Week, which takes place in April, as well as some important information regarding that newest SLO number 5, and the work that programs are doing to help develop program level SLO number 5. So with that being said, I'm going to try to be as quick as possible through this slideshow. There are more slides than we probably have time for, but I want to assure you these slides will be integrated into our chair's slideshow so that you all have access to this at a later date. But let me go ahead and just begin by outlining what SLOs are. And I know for some of us, this isn't the first time that we've done this. However, with each year that passes, we are becoming more refined in how we go about collecting data. And so it's really important that we stay fresh and up to date when we go through this self-assessment period in each spring semester. So student learning outcomes describe what students should know, think, and do as a result of instruction. In other words, SLOs are the end products of a course, and they're usually expressed as knowledge, skills, attitudes, or values. And I know for some of our newer faculty, it may seem confusing because there are three different kinds of SLOs. We have institutional SLOs, we have program SLOs, and we have course SLOs. So I want to take just a quick moment to highlight the differences and the importance of each of these three different SLOs. And so first is the institutional SLOs, which guide all of the programs here at SDCCE and helps us meet our WASC accreditation standards. And so you'll see here on the slide behind me, or the slide I'm beside, we have our 5 institutional SLOs, which are all pretty familiar because social responsibility, effective communication, critical thinking, and personal and professional development, these are the cornerstones and pillars of our institution's student learning outcomes. And the newest, the 5th SLO, is the one that we adopted last year, and you see that in the far right. And so what's important to know is that the institutional SLOs guide all of our programs. However, we do have program level SLOs, and these are created in alignment with our institutional SLOs. So the way that I would suggest looking at this, look at our program SLOs as being a customized version of that institutional SLO that speaks to the distinctive curriculum and to the students that we serve here. So I'll just quickly go back to the slide previous and notice that the language SDCCE students demonstrate interpersonal skills by learning and working cooperatively in a diverse environment. That's SLO number 1. And when we go to the Emeritus Program SLOs, it's more specific for our student demographic. Emeritus students acquire interpersonal skills to function effectively in a multicultural and diverse environment by comparing and evaluating their work in a respectful manner. So it still carries the spirit of the institutional SLO, yet it is more customized and specific to our program and our program needs. So we have the institutional SLOs, we have the program SLOs, and they are different for each of our respective programs here at the college. And then we have that third level of SLOs, which are the course level SLOs. And these are SLOs that are customized for our specific courses. Here on my slide, I have the Writer's Workshop course SLOs, which show how that changes. So I'm going to take us back 2 slides, and I just want to show, using that example of SLO number 1, social responsibility, the language is structured so that it speaks to all SDCCE students as an institutional SLO. When we go to the emeritus, that social responsibility, again, is specific to our emeritus students. And now I want to highlight how that works for Writers Workshop students. So social responsibility, still looking at SLO number 1, the Writers Workshop OA student will be able to examine diverse writing techniques from a variety of perspectives and apply that knowledge by creating quality writing, demonstrating knowledge of punctuation, syntax, parts of speech, and grammar. So I hope by showing these 3 different slides with 3 different versions of our SLO number 1, you can see how tailored and how specific it can be and should be at the course level. So I just want to remind us, because when we get to student self-assessment week, one of the tasks we will have as faculty is to select one of our course SLOs, one of our student learning outcomes, and use that to measure and assess our students' progress toward their learning goals. So this is an important thing to keep in mind, that we have different levels for different purposes. And speaking of purpose, it's important to recognize that SLOs help us, the educators, understand how to better facilitate student learning. It also provides us an opportunity to use data. So it's giving us feedback that can allow us to make data-informed choices, which, if you were at our Spring Institutional Day, unfortunately, my vocabulary just slipped out of my mind. If you were there when Dr. King was speaking, you would have known that we were stressing how important it is for faculty to make data-informed decisions, and actually not just faculty, but all professionals. And lastly, SLOs help us set student expectations, and they can better articulate or help students better articulate what they are learning. So this is something that's beneficial both to the instructor as well as the student. So why SLOs matter for emeritus students? It is important that we provide guided instruction for lifelong learners. You know, one of the beautiful parts about emeritus courses is that often we have high retention, and so we get to work with the same students semester after semester, which means it's important that we continue to assess and find ways to really help them meet their student learning outcomes and objectives. So SLOs are also at the center of accreditation. It's how we can provide evidence for how students are performing and learning. And so by measuring our SLOs, we get to show how students are increasing what they know, how they increase what they can do, and we also can determine how they feel about themselves and about their learning. So this is a really important thing for all of our faculty to be considerate of, especially since we're at the beginning of the spring semester, which let me just highlight some important takeaways before I bring us to some more information and resources that we'll have in advance of our student self-assessment week. So just a reminder, a summary, if you will, SLOs are created in alignment between our driving principles, between our program's mission and goals, and our course level outcomes. So institution, program, and course. And these are core tenets of how we measure educational effectiveness, and it allows us faculty to make data-informed decisions. So Student Self-Assessment Week, excuse me. Student Self-Assessment Week will take place April 7th through 11th. That's the week after we come back from spring break. And during this time, emeritus faculty must select a course SLO to measure through an activity and student self-assessment. The data collected is integral to helping faculty measure student progress toward learning goals. And also importantly, the data collected is integral to developing program data used for program review and satisfying WASC accreditation standards. And I'd like to keep that helpful reminder at the bottom of the slide. Please do remember that this process is meant to assess student learning and is not a tool to evaluate faculty, which sometimes it can be easy to make that mistake. So remembering or reminding ourselves that it's all about the student can help us really focus in on what kind of activity will work for our class and ultimately help us assess the learning that's taking place in our classroom. Are there any questions before I move us to some more important matters related to SLO?
Well, let me also add that we are planning to have a SLO preparation meeting. So in March, I think it was March 21st, correct, Esteban? Where we will prepare all of you for the assessment week. And Esteban will guide us through this process.
Thank you, Claudia. That was the perfect segue into the information about the meeting.
Perfect.
So this meeting will take place on March 21st from 10 a.m. to 11:30. The program meeting will help prepare you for the Student Self-Assessment Week. We'll also cover how data will be collected, so we'll have an opportunity to look at the Student Self-Assessment Survey. And it'll also allow us to meet with other instructors in our discipline to help us select which SLO to measure for the student self-assessment activity. And it'll also help us design a student self-assessment activity and get that work done in advance of the student self-assessment week, because it's best to have it all squared away before you show up to class the week after spring break. So again, March 21st, that's a Friday, and we'll of course have flex credit offered for your attendance should you attend this event live in action. Pamela, yes, question.
I teach the my DSPS class at that time. Will it be a Zoom that's recorded so I could watch it after?
Most definitely. We'll
Okay,
make
great,
sure to
thanks.
record it and make sure it's on the faculty emeritus page. Well, thank you. That means we can turn to the next important item, which is talking a little bit more about the fifth SLO and specifically the initiative that's taking place across the college. we are working towards supporting programs to develop their own program level SLO. So as I mentioned in the previous section, we passed the SLO or adopted the institutional SLO last year. And so I wanted to give you a little bit more of an idea of the timeline. And so in 2022, 2023, so 2 years ago, the SLO committee and the DEIAA committee, the committee that I run, began revising a draft from 2017 that we had developed that was aligned with our institutional efforts in equity and inclusion. And after revising that draft, the committees brought it back to their respective committees. They took it to other participatory governance bodies for feedback, revision, and support. And in 2023 to 2024, we had the full support of Academic Senate and officially adopted the institutional SLO. Well, now this year, 2024 to 2025, we are doing our best to support each program to develop their own program level SLO that aligns with SLO number 5. So in my example of showing SLO number 1, showing how customized it can be, this is the track that we're working towards. We have the institutional SLO, and now we want programs to be faculty led, meaning all of you here in this room, your voices are really important and integral to leading this work. And we want to make sure that we develop a program level SLO that speaks and is in alignment with that institutional one, but that is specific and customized for our student demographic. Then next year, 2025 to 2026, we will begin supporting programs to support their faculty in developing course level SLOs number 5. So I just wanted to give you a sense of the timeline and how this is something that has been in the works for many years. And this is a process where you will not be left adrift, but you will definitely have an opportunity to make an impact in how we are setting up our outcomes, our learning outcomes for our students. So with that being said, and with the small amount of time that we have here today, I wanted to just remind us what that SLO number 5 looks like. And through the assistance and feedback through emeritus faculty that are a part of my committee, the DEIAA committee, and through some of the faculty who participate through other governance bodies, we've had an opportunity to draft what could be our program level SLO number 5. So first, let's look at the institutional one, and then I'll show us this draft that we have for our emeritus programs version of SLO number 5. So the institutional one reads, SDCCE students critically and ethically engage with local and global issues using principles of equity, civility, and compassion as they apply their knowledge and skills, exhibiting awareness, appreciation, respect, and advocacy for diverse individuals, groups, and cultures. And so remember, at the institutional level, the language is broad enough so that it can be in alignment with all of SDCCE programs. And now our job, our task here today and for the rest of this academic year is to customize this so that it speaks to our program and our students. And through some tremendous feedback from our faculty, this is the draft that we have. Emeritus students demonstrate principles of equity, civility, and compassion as they examine local and global issues, engage in a positive narrative of aging and age, and display awareness, appreciation, respect, and advocacy for diverse individuals, groups, and cultures. I'll give you just a moment to reread that, digest it, see how that fits into your practice in your course, see how the language, how accessible it is. And we would love to invite you to offer some feedback, any recommendations or suggestions. It's especially important that we try to make sure that it carries the spirit of the institutional SLO, but that it speaks to our specific students. And so the engage in a positive narrative of aging and age was a really important addition, which Claudia and Tara Gilboy made that suggestion and revision so that we would enter that in. So that being said, I'll give us another moment to look at the institutional SLO.
have a
And now
question.
looking at the drafted version, I'd love to hear any thoughts, comments, questions, or feedback. Did I hear a question?
Yes, I'm very new to the Emeritus Program, but I taught previously for many, many years at another university. And this is just something personal I want to share because I don't think I'm the only one. But I have always wanted to be extremely supportive to students who are deciding in the time that I know them, deciding to be trans or they, and when I was teaching a couple of years ago, I noticed that I was constantly saying the wrong pronoun. And all I knew to do was just apologize. They know me. They know I'm accepting and totally non-judgmental. But I'm just curious if anybody else has experienced that in terms of if there's a better way to approach it. If there's something that should be said at the beginning of the class that makes my my embracing of their lifestyle known, and then if I make a mistake, I just apologize for the pronoun problem. But I don't know. This may not be the right time to even bring it up, but I just thought I would give it a shot because a lot of you here I know are experienced in dealing with that.
Thank you. And secondly, welcome to the program. One thing that I might suggest, and this is a newer practice that I've put into place, is to issue a survey in that first week. And just it's a great way to have them share personal information. Teaching writers classes or literature classes, you get to learn about their own personal tastes, and you can ask them what their favorite book is, or what their favorite class or what their favorite teacher is, those sorts of personal details. And you could also work in a question such as, is there anything about you that I should know? And I personally have found it not to be very easy to have a conversation about pronouns with our specific student demographic because not everyone has that same awareness or sensitivity. And so giving students an opportunity to share that information in a closed forum. So in my case, a survey, although you could just send this out as an email and people can just respond individually to these emails. And that can be a way for you to better know how to navigate some of your new students. Because one of the things, and once I'm through sharing this slideshow, I can share a link that I have included in my email signature, which includes information on why pronouns matter, which has been really helpful with my students because there has been some resistance to understanding why there are different pronouns used. And when they are given the information and can see why it's important, then even folks who might have seemed very unwilling to change how they look at language will eventually soften up, if not outwardly change. So that might just be one suggestion. Use this first week and either your welcome emails or any surveys that you might feel compelled to design. This is the best time to kind of send those feelers out and get to know your students at a different level.
And it seems like the email is a chance to really let the students get to know you or me, and to make it clear what doesn't need to be a concern or a fear or anything. I'm reading the different chats as well.
Kate, it's many times you will find that many of our students are returning students. So it takes a lot of time to go through the entire classroom. Sometimes when I have a larger group, I have the long-term students and I select a few like ambassadors, classroom ambassadors that welcome the newcomers. And then the newcomers introduce themselves. And that's kind of giving an opportunity to the new students to introduce themselves, to also express those special wishes if they wish to be called by a certain pronoun, different name. You sometimes come across that their legal name is different than their preferred name. So those kind of things. The question is that you need to keep track of these matters. So have a little notebook on the side where you take notes of these kind of things. Yeah, so but let's hand it back to Esteban. We have a lot of other things on our agenda, but great comments, Kay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Let me just ask one last time if we have any other suggestions or ways we can better tailor this SLO for our program. I would love to hear it. And of course, I know it's hard to sometimes offer suggestions live in action. So if you do have any thoughts as to how we might be able to revise this, you can reach out to me via email. I have it listed here on our final slide. And you also have received emails from me in the recent past. So please feel free to reach out to me there. I'll bring us back to that drafted SLO. Are there any thoughts, comments, suggestions, concerns, or anything that we might want to see if we can include in here?
And Esteban, maybe you can copy this program SLO number 5 into the chat. Maybe then it gives time to our faculty to maybe ponder those words.
I think that might be the best way to do it. So I'll stop sharing. I'll copy and paste this. And of course, please feel free to reach out to me via email, reach out to me here in the chat. And if not, I'm pretty sure any of our APCs or PCs would be happy to hear any insight you may have for this particular task. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Esteban. As always, excellent work and so important, your work as also the chair of the DEI committee of our institution. So thank you so much. Let me introduce you to some of our new faculty that are not quite, let me actually find where is Charisse. There she is. And I add here spotlight and Esteban. I take your spotlight. There you go. Let me introduce you to Dr. Charisse Winston. She is not quite yet officially our faculty member, but she's soon to join the brain fitness team. So please say hello to everyone and maybe a couple of sentences to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. So if you see this USC, so I actually am a neuroscientist. I do Alzheimer's disease research at a Alzheimer's Disease Institute here in Mira Mesa. And then as a part of that position, I also have the opportunity to teach. Given that we're in this very unique situation that we're not on main campus, I tend to teach at quite a few of the colleges around San Diego. So I am happy to be on board here. My prior teaching includes teaching at the University of San Diego as well as Southwestern Community College. So I'm happy to be here. And I've just been listening and absorbing as much as I can.
Well, I know it's going to be very difficult to get oriented. We have some other faculty that's not quite yet so long with us, and they will tell you volumes how confusing it is. But please reach out to your assistant program chairs or myself. We are always there to help you. And thanks for being here, even though you're not yet our faculty member. I compliment your willingness to join us. And I would like to introduce you to our other new applicant. Bye, Charisse. And this is Dr. Desiree Hargis. Welcome, and she's going to join the Body Dynamics classes and will co-teach with Nikki Salmon. Welcome, Desiree, and please introduce yourself quickly.
Thank you, Claudia. My name is Desiree Hargis. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, and I've been treating mainly older patients in the community for the last 7 or 8 years. I'm looking forward to joining the faculty.
Thank you. And again, also kudos to you without being yet a faculty member officially. We hope that it happens maybe tomorrow, but sooner than later. But thank you for volunteering your time this afternoon. We are back on our agenda. Oh, there's such a fun subject. But before we do this, let me ask Tavares. Dean Tavares Franklin is with us. I saw him earlier. Are you still with us? No, he left our meeting. Okay, then we continue. Always alert me if I ignore any hands up, etc. So I have two screens and sometimes I might miss it. So flex obligation. This came out last week and there are again some changes. Already in the August Emeritus meeting, we did discuss that in your portal, whatever is posted there, that's incorrect. So usually you have a window like here where it says 4 hours. Well, that's my flex obligation, and I can tell you that's incorrect. So please ignore this. It has been incorrect now for a while. And we cannot, I don't know if they will fix this pretty soon, but it's incorrect. So please go by the email that I sent you just last week, at the end of last week. And roughly it's for contract now, you have to complete 20 hours of flex per academic year. You can do them all in 1 month, or you can spread them over 2 semesters. It doesn't matter as long as you complete before June 2nd of this year, your 20 hours of flex hours. Here's the one thing, many of you do much more than 20 hours. I'm I think at 50. So please keep reporting them. So on the Flex website where you sign up for Flex workshop, and then after you take the Flex workshop, you have to confirm, yes, I have attended this one. Please keep doing it even after you have completed your obligations, because it's a good way for our college when we go through accreditation, that we show how much our faculty is participating in professional development. So it is important. It doesn't have any benefits to you or to your pay or anything at one point, but we look as very good as a college. So, but contract faculty has to complete 20 flex hours, and it is part of your salary. So no contract is not paid extra for any of the flex workshops they attend. Adjunct faculty, well, you many times don't know what's your flex obligation. There is a formula that's now pretty easy. You should have at your portal somewhere in some number where it shows your complete FTE. So, or FTEF, they also call it. When you have this number, like Carol, if you don't mind, I use your example. Carol contacted me and said, I don't know. So I teach 2-hour classes. I have so many classes. And it turns out that she has, Carol, maybe remind me of your formula. So you had 4 classes that are each 2 hours that constitute to 0.36 FTE. And that number you multiply by 25. And that result is your flex hours that you're supposed to do for the semester. What is new is now that you are going to be paid for these flex hours. Well, it's not new. So it's new how you report it. Let me just put it this way. Let me get rid of my annotations. So here you see what has changed. In the past, you were asked to put all your flex hours on those 2 flex days. So if you had to do 8 flex hours in the semester, you would put 4 hours today, 4 hours tomorrow, and then mark it as regular pay. We do not do this practice any longer. So now they have in your pay reporting time card, they have added another item where here that will be new. Some of you maybe have seen it. Some of you have not yet seen it. It's brand new. I think it was put there last week. And this particular reporting option, that's what you choose when you report your completed flex hours. Now, some of you have maybe 9 hours, so you will be able to collect pay for 9 flex hours. If you do 20 flex hours, do not bother to add more flex hours in your pay and your time card. You will only be paid for those that you're obligated to complete. So that's just to clarify. Any questions regarding this matter? And we have at the end, we have actually, unfortunately, they didn't have time earlier in our meeting. So we will have today some breakout rooms. And I put these slides up for you so you can digest. And after our breakout rooms at 4:15, I will call you all back to our main room. And then Janae Patton and Carla Grossini Concha will join us, and they're in charge of our flex obligations and flex reporting and workshops. So please keep this all in mind. And Momilani, you have a question. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you. I was on my flex contract told that I was only required to do 2 hours in the fall, and now according to the formula, it's 3.5 each semester, total of 7. So I only put in for time for 2 hours in the fall. So can I put the other 5 in the spring hours?
If I understood correctly, this is also new. So in the past, it was for adjuncts, they had to do it per semester. And it seems like they have changed this as well for adjuncts, that it's always counted for the entire semester, academic year. So if I understood correctly, so that would be a good question to verify with Janae, that you now can, if you have taken too many flex workshops in the fall, they will carry over to the spring semester. But let's ask that question because that's a change.
It was actually about the pay part of it. So I have total fall spring attended 7 hours, but I only put in for pay for 2 hours for the fall. So there's now this extra hour and a half. Can I put that in the spring pay?
Yeah, that's a question so specific. So I would like you to contact Janae Patton directly. So, and you can please copy me so then I also learn, and then I can help other faculty as well. I do see that our new dean was there for a moment. Are you there, Dr. Akridge?
Good afternoon, I'm here.
Oh, good, good. Let me find you so then I can add you at and on our panel. So please introduce yourself for a moment. Oh, there you are.
Sure, no problem. So, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Vanjie Akridge, and I will be joining the team officially February 10th. So, I received the invite to join you today, and in full transparency, I just arrived in San Francisco. I'm presenting at a conference, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to jump on the call and at least say hello until I am able to meet you all in the coming weeks and have a more in-depth conversation. So thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for making the time. And yeah, that's not easy when you're traveling to
No
just
problem.
on to a Zoom meeting. But we appreciate your time and willingness to say hello. And we look forward to working with you. And we will have another department meeting on March 21st. And we hope you will be able to join us then.
Okay,
Thank you
awesome.
so
Thank you.
much. Yeah, so back to our flex obligation. So know your FTE. If you're not so sure about what's your total FTE for a semester, you're welcome. The one who might be able the fastest to give you that number is Kelly. She is our scheduler. She knows exactly how much FTE is assigned to each faculty member. You are also welcome to ask me, so I can also look it up. And then it's multiplied by 25, and that makes out your flex obligation. But contract, you now always have to do 20 hours. So please keep note of that. And any other questions? So flex obligation and flex pay, that would be Janae. And for flex activity, or if you would like yourself to present a flex workshop, please talk to me and to Carla, and we see that it gets onto the flex schedule. Now, summer schedule, and these are kind of important dates, so I want you to be aware of this. So the summer schedule will be finalized by March 7th. So I put here to be safe March 1st. So some faculty don't wait until that end date. So I gave us a little grace period. So there's not going to be any request of changes. Somehow, Emeritus, we got the reputation that we always asked for too many changes. So I have been asked to really be diligent about that a certain moment in time, nobody can change anything in their schedule. It's engraved in stone, so to say. So once pre-registration starts, don't even bother to send those emails. So it's even more important when you get your TAU to check your TAU. That's one way, but the TAU doesn't really say your hours. It only speaks of FTE. And that's, again, many of you are not familiar with the FTE and hour, the calculations. So, but just be aware that you need to check your schedule. The safest way is really the website, our SDCCE website. So where you can see the cap sizes, you can see the hours for the class, and you can double check the TAHU against what's advertised on the district or the college website. And then, of course, there's Mary's schedule, and that will also continue for the time being. And so just double check your classes. That's the safest way to get a correct schedule online advertised. Once pre-registration starts, there's absolutely nobody on earth who will be able to help you. Not even the cap sizes can be raised. No, nothing can be changed. So I hope yeah, let me just repeat this. So absolutely no changes to any class schedule after the start of pre-registration. So there's a little short time when the class schedule is advertised, but the pre-registration has not yet started. I will remind you, I will send you an email. Hey, it's out there. That email, please pay attention to and read it immediately and act on it immediately. And then there's a chance that we can do slide changes. But that's already pretty late in the game. But when pre-registration starts, there's absolutely no good reason on earth that will allow us to or get permission to get any class to be changed. Any questions regarding summer and fall schedules? No?
Yeah,
So
Claudia, I have a question.
sure, Joanne.
Great, thank you. Do we know when they're going to be requesting us to submit if we're working summer? Is that coming? Do we have an estimate date so we can try to make sure we're
Yes.
responding as appropriately as possible,
Yeah,
time-wise?
so that availability form will go out this week. So I
Okay, great.
saw that Stephanie received it this morning. So, and she should be sending it out anytime soon. So this week. So look out for the availability form, and it will be Stephanie McQueer, our assistant to the dean, who will send it out. So if you want just the same hours than last summer, just to give you an idea how much our budget will look like, they actually don't know yet. A lot of things have an impact on the budget, and that trickles down to our FTE allocation for our department. So last Friday, VPI Dr. Minu Spradley, I had posted this question to her, and she said the college district did not yet allocate or send the colleges, the 4 colleges, each of their FTE allocations for the next academic year. And that makes it really hard to plan. So they're assuming with the recent January budget announcements of the governor that was more positive than we actually thought. And some of you might have read the email of Chancellor Smith, Gregory Smith, where he was quite optimistic in his email that the drastic budget cuts that he was anticipating, that he didn't think they were so necessary. So it was very positive. So that's great news. But then the fires in LA happened. And there is the prediction of many experts that think there will be in the May revision of the governor's budget, there might be some revision. If that will impact community colleges, we don't know. So as we are told right now, we are anticipating that the budget will be the same like last year. So that means summer semester will be a short semester. Last year, it was 5 weeks only. And most of the teachers who did teach got just 1 or 2 classes. And that's the purpose of this is to guarantee that we can offer all fall and spring courses in full swing. So the summer semester is held short on purpose because it's all one budget. So it's for the academic year that starts with summer, fall, and spring semesters. So if we spend our FTE all in the summer semester, which we could decide, then there will be cuts in the fall semester. So we don't want to do that. We want to keep our fall and spring semester as intact as we have seen it in the last few academic years. So summer, be aware, it will be shorter. It will be pretty much similar to last summer. So you can always put in a request because there is a chance we should get that budget by the mid-February, I was told. So maybe there's by a miracle more budget available. And then if you have requested more courses, then it's good to know in which order they came in and what proposals you would like to post to teach an additional summer class. So think about it, but don't count on it that you will get an additional class. But it's always good to have it in the background to know which faculty is willing to teach actually more classes. Thank you, Joanne, for the question. Emily, I let you wait so long. Go ahead.
Thank you. Could you repeat, you had told me earlier something about proposing classes for fall. If someone has an idea for a class, what would be the proper protocol there?
So start in writing a proposal and do it pretty much right after spring break. Use spring break to contemplate. Don't wait to May because then it will be too late. So the schedule for fall semester, we will be working on most likely already in March. As soon as summer schedule is finished, we will start with fall schedule. So yeah, start thinking now. If you send it too early, then maybe send a reminder again. And please copy me on these proposals so I keep track in a folder of these proposals. And then, of course, it's also which class has the most viable chance to meet the enrollment target. So that's also keep this in mind when you post a proposal. So it has to be a successful one. All classes need to have that minimum enrollment of 30. In order to have in an in-person 30 people attending, you all know the retention is not every week the same. So you would need to have more students enrolled to have that regular ACS of 30 per week. So be aware of those kind of details. But most of you have been a long time with the Emeritus program. That part has not changed at all. Good question. Thank you, Emily. And yeah, send it shortly after spring break. Any other questions? Yes, Linda, please go ahead. We don't hear you. You have to unmute yourself.
Sorry. How many weeks will summer be?
Well, since they don't know really what's the budget for the summer yet, but the estimate was just to do the same like last year. Last year, we had a 5-week summer semester in the Emeritus program, 5 weeks.
5 weeks. Okay. Thank you.
Maybe we will be able to tack on another week or another set of classes. So I don't know. We will not know until mid-February.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So let's move on. Chair elections. This is too much text. I added it because you will all have the PowerPoint in soon in your emails. And so we have this spring, we will face again election. It's a 2-year term. There's not much changes, but some little procedure changes. So the election will be in March. It used to be always in our January meeting, so they gave us a little bit more time. We have an election chair that will guide us through this, and this is some excerpt from the CBA, the Collective Bargaining Agreement. So usually it has to be a tenure or tenure track faculty member that runs for APC or program chair positions. And then they have to write a statement of intent. If we cannot find any contract faculty to run for office, then yes, adjunct faculty with POA assignment rights will have also the right to run for office. So we will talk more about who's running. You will see an email coming out. It is important that we have then that we follow the process. Last time we didn't have an election because that's also in the CBA. If the same people run or there's only one person running for one of the available offices and there's no contestant, then the CBA has a provision that we do not need to hold election. So we will see when the intent to run for office will come in, and the election chair will actually be able to determine this. Yeah, so that's coming in March. And yeah, now this is important before we go into our breakout rooms. So this is actually a good time. So you're all aware of that we talked in our August meeting about how we are required to revise all course outlines in our department. And just to show you visually how much work it is. So it is faculty purview to revise curriculum. So it's our privilege to determine what we teach and how we teach. So curriculum is faculty driven. As a department chair and faculty member, I'm kind of the lead on all curriculum writing. So this is the folder of all our course outlines. We have 28 course outlines in it's a pretty big folder. So, and these are all the approved curriculum. So far, since September, I've been able to, because we need to complete this before this spring semester ends, we have to complete all core revisions, COR revisions by actually March, because if I don't complete it by March, I don't get it onto the agenda of the curriculum committee, and then it doesn't get onto the approval page, and then it's not in place. So it's kind of important we move quickly on all of this to let you know that this fall semester we will be very scrutinized with how we offer our classes. All of you know that in the past, it was depending on how active our senior students are. If we are teaching in a special settings, those students cannot concentrate possibly for 3 hours, so we shorten the time for those students. Often we offer only 2-hour classes in special settings. If we have younger seniors that take a full-fledged class with asynchronous and synchronous learning, that's 5 hours per week. Then some of you teach a class, especially the exercise classes, you teach it multiple times per week. 3 times a week you meet with your students and we put them under one CRN. I have argued for a year that we need more flexibility in our department because of all the different scenarios we have. I kind of lost this battle, so they claim that we will not be able to collect apportionment if we don't align with the hours of this COR. And the COR directive of what hours are available have drastically changed. In the past, I put all the course outline like for the semester, 108 hours. That meant translates to 6 hours a week. And then we were allowed to offer anything below. So we only set the maximum possible hours. And as long as we didn't schedule classes above that 108 hours per semester, we were okay. But now they have forced us to put a minimum. And that minimum and the range to the maximum is very little. And that's a problem now with all the many different courses that we offer because we serve so many different students. I mean, we had some awesome short-term classes. Again, yes, we can offer still 9-hour classes, but if that course outline is stated, it should be 3 hours per week for 18-week semester. Then if you offer that same course for 9 weeks, it should be 6 hours a week. So they want just this, whatever the hours in the COR, all courses offered under that course outline of record has to be the same hours. So many of you have already been in contact with me, like Jean Scott and Marquetta. We were kind of inventive with our music outline. We revived an old course outline that we use now for the special settings. The retirement living people, we got you all straightened out. We are in line. So it's now left actually the arts teachers and health 525 and body dynamics, PSV 505, where we have a huge range of hours. Some teachers teach it 1.5 hours per week, and others meet their students 3 times a week, and it's 5 hours a week or 4.5. We will not be able to do that after the summer semester. So I will, in the breakout room, I will join the health group and the art group, and then I will meet with some of you individually to be coming up with some inventive ideas. One of our teachers, so the bottom line is you will teach the exact same hours that you right now are teaching. So that will not change. So you should get your same FTE that you always had. But we have to a little bit be thinking out of the box, maybe to tack on a little bit time on one class or on 3 classes and schedule instead of 4 classes, only 3 classes, or combine like Stuart Simon used to have 4 piano classes. And now we scheduled him to teach 2 piano classes, and they happened to meet one time on Zoom and one time on in person. And that way we were able to align Stuart's piano classes with the total hours stated in the COR. So that's kind of like, I have gotten pretty good in kind of going around and making it work. So just for you to know, there's no way to avoid this. It's HR is involved with this, the district curriculum committee. So it's pretty mandatory from high up, and we will need to think about like Carol, I think maybe we will talk maybe to combine your 4 classes to also 2 classes or something. So we will figure it out. So many of you will want maybe to schedule an individual meeting with me before actually the fall schedule get finalized. So schedule something with me in March, latest right after spring break. So we can kind of think out of the box. The summer semester is such a different animal, so we don't have to worry about it. And then whatever your proposal is, you know your students the best. You might have some ideas how we can restructure and reorganize your students in a good way. So bring your ideas to the table. I really welcome them. I need you to tell me who is in your course, how can we combine them. It's often in conversation that you and we can come up with a solution, how we can comply with the hours of the COR. In all of it, I just want to remind you that some of you teach only synchronous online. Some of you teach only in person. Then some of you teach synchronous and have a website. So that makes it kind of different. So we have different modalities, but curriculum committee now has given the directive that all doesn't matter. Whatever your modality or way of teaching is, the hours of all courses offered under one specific or particular COR has to be the same. So like in retirement living, suddenly all of these classes are 5 hours long, but they all are offering synchronous and in-person field trips, and they all have a course website. So that was easy. There's only a few teachers there, so it was easy to kind of figure this puzzle out. In some cases, it was a gain for some faculty. Some, it was a painful restructure of their class schedule, but we will get it figured out. So talk to me. And because I'm the one with the curriculum and the committee, and then I can advise the dean, incoming dean, to actually see how to schedule your fall classes. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions on this? Most of our classes are already kind of in line. So the good news is 18 of our 28 course outlines are already approved. So we have only 10 more to go. Yay! Marketa, please go ahead.
Yes, I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I actually want to acknowledge you, Claudia, because when I heard about the change, I was like, what will I do? I teach 12 classes. How can I ever do that? And with your, sixth sense and with your kindness and patience, we
just did it like that. And I want to thank you for that, because I always can rely on you. And it's just so wonderful to have you at the lead, because you always know what to do. You've been here, what, 25 years? And so I thank you so much, because it's every semester it's something new and it seems like disaster. But then when we get together and we have the leaders as we do, as Mary and many others, it's just wonderful to rely on you. So thank you so much. I know it doesn't come easy because you have such a big load, but thank you so much.
Thank you, Marketa, for those kind words. And it's my pleasure and my privilege. I know that all of you actually work so hard. So I'm here to support you. And that's my job. So thank you. Well, we are getting close to the well, I wanted to quick ask the APCs to come on and to maybe give some news of their disciplines, what they want to share. Let's see if they're here. Who wants to start?
I can begin.
Okay, Mary, you go.
So I've just been kind of keeping track of everything that's being released, and I put that on our department website. I want to remind you that we do have a department website. We try to keep everything on there. That's the website is SDCE Emeritus. I'm typing it in here, .com. So use that to find official notes from our institution or from the departments. Also to remind you that if we do any in-services like Esteban, I'm still waiting for you to send me that in-service thing. If we do any in-services and you want to have those and you want to see them afterwards, those will be on that same course website. And then also do remember that we do have the student website. This is for our students, our Emeritus students, and that has the schedule, flyers. If you need to see your flyer, you can get that there, etc. So if you have any questions about technology or any of these things, let me know.
Thank you, Mary. And thank you for all that you are doing. So talking about making things easier for faculty, Mary goes gallops to the rescue all the time, not just runs, gallops. And she's so fast and effective, and we don't know what we would do without Mary. And Shar, maybe you're next.
Well, we have our work cut out for us, and we're going to tackle part of that today. And I want to thank everyone. We have 100% attendance of HAL 525 and PSAV 505 today. Thank you, thank you. And I also appreciate how you respond to my requests.
Thank you. And that's so important to have a good network and to stay in contact with your colleagues and with your APCs. And thank you, Shar, for that amazing work. So 100% attendance. Wow. You win the prize. Thank you. Helena.
Right, everyone, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, there is just one date you have to remember for this year, April the 12th. That's our 5th Emeritus. Can you believe it? Our 5th Emeritus concert. This year we are embracing everybody, echoing what Espen is saying, all discipline on deck. So we have Holly's drama, and then we have the literature, poetry reading. We have included, I think this year we'll have 3 more programs on top of what we had last year. So really wanted to have everyone on because even if you're non-music discipline, you can definitely be involved with our front foyer auction setup. And also it's a wonderful opportunity to share your discipline with the community. We will have booths set up, a great place for you to put your flyer out before the summer. And we actually truly, a lot of faculty has expressed to me that because joining the Emeritus event, just for that one day, they have recruited so many new students because we all cross discipline. And so I hope that you will join us. It's on April the 12th, Canyon Crest Academy, and it will start from 3 o'clock on. But more recruitment will be going out from all our volunteers, and I hope that you will join us. And also just, yeah, we're really, really glad that our music program is growing, including our new faculty, Matthew, and our jazz department. So, and also, yeah, Alice and I will do a concerto performance March the 22nd. So more news will go out. Thank you.
Thank you, Helena, and also Marketa, who is also involved in the planning. So thanks to both of you that this event is again happening. So it's always wonderful to highlight our student and our faculty. We have high administrators attending, and it's such a great showcase. So it has really changed the mindset of our president, vice president, vice chancellor, and so on. Thanks for organizing it. Esteban, please go ahead.
Awesome. So there's some more information I'd like to share. Number one, if you weren't able to make my in-service earlier this month, this year is already beginning to feel like it's been longer than it is. We will have that posted on the faculty website, as Mary Burns just made mention of. So I'm going to send that link to her immediately after this meeting so that it's added there. And I'm also planning to have a follow-up. So the in-service was about culturally and linguistic responsive teaching practices, and we only had an hour. And what I realized is we needed a lot more than 1 hour to share our best practices and tips. So we're going to have a second session here in the spring semester. I'm still trying to iron out when that date will be held. However, there is a new event that I'm working to develop with the help of Tara Gilboy, our newest contract. We are going to launch the Emeritus Writers Showcase. And following suit of Helena's amazing Emeritus Benefit Concert, it only made sense that we would have an opportunity and a platform to share for our writing and literature students. We've seen a lot of success for our students in my classes and in Tara's classes. In fact, I didn't get to share this with the program yet, but one of my students was nominated for 2 pushcart prizes, or received 2 nominations for a pushcart prize last year, which, if you're unfamiliar with writing and literature, just being nominated is worth putting in your resume and in your writer's bio to give you a sense of how much of an accomplishment that was. So our goal is in the month of May to have this Emeritus Writers Showcase, and we're in conversation with the Neil Morgan Auditorium at Central Library. We're still trying to pin an exact date, but our hope is for the first full week of May, so that week of May 5th to the 9th. Once we have the firm date and time, we will send out flyers immediately. But this will be a showcase that shows the talent that our writers have. And it won't just be restricted to writers who are published or who have intent to publish. It is designed to celebrate all of the writers and all of the kind of self-expression we see in our courses. So if you teach an art course or a playwriting course or even a ceramics course, expect an email from me in the next coming days, because I will want to recruit more and more of our students to have an opportunity to share their self-expression, and more importantly, a platform to show all of the amazing learning and outcomes that happen here in the Emeritus program. So more on that soon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Esteban. And regarding the 5th SLO, I think we do need a first reading and a second reading. So do you think maybe we call this the first reading? And then we have the March 21st meeting, which will be probably our second meeting, when we will vote or you will propose a motion to accept or not. That gives time to all faculty to give suggestions to Esteban on this wonderful 5th SLO. There's always some wordsmithing possible. We can spend ages on this. So some people love to do that. So please give your talents to this big, important matter, the 5th program SLO. Now, I just quick to all faculty. Do you have anything that you want to share? I know, Edwin, are you there? Edwin Basilio. Pamela, please go ahead.
Well, due to the construction of the theater, I'm kind of looking to do a different place possibly for our next fundraiser. So we were looking at Wednesday, May the 7th, and thinking of doing it out where we had the luncheon today on the patio, perhaps. But I've also been invited April 26th to the Bonita Historical Museum. This will be our 4th year that we've been invited to promote our classes and offer the ceramics for sale. So Esteban, perhaps we could have a small table in that week of that November, that May week. Thank you.
Yes, and please collaborate. Emily, you sent a fantastic email, which made my day because other faculty, they all work together to increase the student numbers in one particular class. So the cross-marketing between faculty is always very effective. Please reach out to your colleagues. Many of our students would be interested maybe in your class and would take more than one class, but don't know that you teach the class. So sometimes showcasing, asking a colleague, can I join your Zoom meeting for 2 minutes or 3 minutes, etc. It goes a long way. So please reach out and between colleagues. I have seen many successes this way coming to fruition. Well, if no other person wants to speak, we have kind of 45 minutes now time to go into our breakout rooms. So you will be, yes, is there somebody who wants to speak? Hello?
Hello, Mitsuko.
Yes, hi, Misuko. Please go ahead.
Yeah, one thing, now I already see the TV is Trump order all kinds of stuff things. So I'm afraid about it does affect our Emeritus Program for like free class because he want to everything change. So I just wondering, are we okay?
We are okay. So for the time being, and I'm the first one to ring the alarm bell. So if you don't see me yet concerned, so California, we are far from Washington.
And one more thing.
Yes.
And one more thing. Our class, flower Ikebana class, we have a big flower show at the Balboa Park, March 1st and 2nd. And usually people like tourists, maybe we have almost like 1,000 people coming to see our flower show, and we do maybe about 60 arrangement. So if anybody have time and stop by at Balboa Park.
And please request the official flyer, and I'm happy to share it with all faculty. That would be wonderful. So thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's anybody else?
Me.
Who's
me? Holly Ritter.
Holly, oh, you go, Holly.
Well, every year I have done a performance showcase, and the students perform. They do scenes over at the Croc, and we're just beginning to pull it together now. It won't be until like mid or the 3rd week in May. So I will get a flyer out, hopefully. And it's 17 years of doing this, so it's been wild. But right now, I'm kind of working on the Emeritus concert. I have 2 actresses who want to do something, so we're working on a 7-minute scene. But just stay posted, read your emails. I do almost every day, so.
Good pitch. Thank you, Holly, for saying this.
Well, thank you, Claudia. Yeah, I'm plugging the concert too. So.
Right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Also, do we get flex credit for this? Yes? No, I don't hear you.
You're on mute, Mod.
Well, I assume
Claudia, you're muted.
Thank you. Too many buttons here to click. So let's go into our breakout rooms. This time I have set it up that you choose your breakout room. Some of you are teaching more than one discipline, so health and music. So you make the choices where and when to join which group. So, and then at 4:15, very important, I will close the breakout rooms and you will all come back to the main room because then Carla and Janae will come and answer all your questions regarding Flex, pay for Flex hours that you have attended, and so on. So think about your questions. That will be at 4:15. And so for now, we go into our breakout rooms. I'm going to first join the art people, and then I will join the health and wellness people. So, and if you have questions, you have the ability to move yourself back and forth, back to the main room and back into another room if you wish. So here I open all the rooms. Please join your faculty colleagues.
Claudia, can we open a brain fitness room?
Yes, I will do.
You invited me to health and wellness. Can we do a break?
Yeah, let me actually add another room. Where do I options join? How do I add another room now? There was always rooms for unassigned. Darn, I forgot to open. Sorry about that. So let me quick see how I open another room. I should be able to open another room. Then what goes to... Oh, shoot.
Seems like most of our instructors are there in the health and wellness one. Anjali.
Yeah, they're all in there.
Yeah. So I guess we won't do it. Mindy's in there.
Oh, darn. I would need to close once now you start. I had a button to add another room. And unfortunately now I can't.
Yeah, we have Manu now. Can I add a room? I don't think I can add a room either.
Let me make you a host. Maybe
I think I am host. I'm a co-host.
yeah, let me make you main host because I sure don't see the no, it's just now there's no way of shoot, I'm so sorry.
You know what? Maybe maybe I can go into health and ask the
why don't you invite all I'm going to go to health and ask them to go back to the main room and you use
perfect. That's perfect.
How about that? Let me ask Anjali. Let me join the health people.
Do you know who you need? I'm sure you do.
Yeah,
Right?
Anjali. Yeah, I do know. Yeah.
Anjali,
Yeah.